Get ready to dive deep into one of the most gripping legal battles of our time. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and today we're unraveling the high-stakes drama surrounding one of the music industry's most enigmatic figures, Sean Diddy Combs. In a case that has captivated millions, the courtroom has become a battleground for fame, fortune, and the dark secrets that lurk beneath the glittering surface of celebrity life. As the gavel comes down, we'll explore the allegations, the testimonies, and the shocking twists that could change the course of Diddy's legacy forever. Was this case merely a clash of lifestyles or something much more sinister? With each episode, I will bring you exclusive insights, analysis, and witness testimony accounts that will leave you on the edge of your seat. So buckle up as we embark on this thrilling ride through the trial of the century, where the stakes are high, the drama is real, and the truth is anything but certain. This is the trial of Sean Combs. Let's get started. So just a quick catch up on what occurred with yesterday's testimony, which was Tuesday, June 3rd. Eddie Garcia, the hotel's security supervisor where Sean Combs attacked Cassie, he testified that Diddy and his team desperately wanted to get the sole copy of that video and prevent it from getting out. Now, in exchange for $100,000 divided among members of the hotel security team, Garcia said he would sign an NDA that called for his silence and the destruction of evidence. He said he was so nervous about the NDA that he didn't read it before he signed it, and Diddy then presented him with stacks of cash in a brown paper bag, and he said he bought a used car with his $30,000 share. Now, Garcia also said he wasn't initially truthful to police when he was asked about the assault. On cross-examination, the defense pointed out the NDA didn't stop Garcia from speaking about it in legal proceedings, a line of question that presumably was intended to undermine the government's potential claim of obstruction of justice. Now, after Garcia, Derek Ferguson, the former chief financial officer of Bad Boy Entertainment, he took the stand to discuss the structure of Diddy's businesses and how the money flowed. So we're back today, and the trial continues on this Wednesday, June 3rd. And before a witness is called, the jury is shown messages between Combs and one of his security guards called D-Rock. This is from September of 2015. Now, in those messages, Combs was directing D-Rock to talk to two people. One of them's name was Shorty, who he referred to as G, and Cassie Ventura. And Combs told D-Rock what to say, according to the messages that were read aloud in court. In one message, Combs told D-Rock to ask G if they broke up. Combs told D-Rock to act like Combs was serious and to inquire about what was happening, the message showed. D-Rock responded and reported that she said Combs didn't want to talk to her anymore, but that she still wanted to see him. Combs asked what Ventura was doing and told D-Rock to, quote, stay on top of her. Now, at that point, a guy by the name of Frank Piazza is called to the stand. This was U.S. Attorney Madison Smizer handling the direct. And Piazza is a forensic audio and video editor. And right off, Smizer asked him how much he is being paid in this case as an expert witness, and he replies he's being paid $295 per hour for his work on the case. He said he typically works with defense attorneys more often than prosecutors, and stated he does not have knowledge of the case itself, but reviewed cell phone video, surveillance footage, and, quote, sex videos. Piazza testified that the surveillance footage of the March 5th, 2016 incident recovered from the Intercontinental Hotel system was not manually altered. He said he slowed the footage to real time because a technical file conversion process had inadvertently sped up the video. Piazza then testified that the timestamps in the surveillance video do not always accurately reflect the actual time of day. And at this point, the jury views the video for at least the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time during this trial since it began. They probably know it by heart at this point. Piazza then said that at the government's request, he compiled video clips to track the movement of individuals inside the events. He inserted a black screen between clips to indicate when the camera angle or the video clips would change. The jury then started watching the compilation with Smizer, walking through the video compilation clip by clip, having Piazza describe the actions of Sean Combs, Cassie Ventura, and eventually security officer Israel Flores, who responded to the scene. After the video finished, Piazza confirmed that none of the videos showed signs of tampering and that they were reliable depictions of what the hotel's surveillance system captured. Piazza then testified that he enhanced 10 sex videos that were recovered from a laptop that Cassie Ventura turned over to the government. The videos, originally recorded in 2012 and 2014, were recovered from the Frank Black user profile on the laptop. Smizer said this as she entered the videos into evidence under seal. Piazza stated he also enhanced the audio on another sexually explicit video. Smizer's direct examination of Piazza is complete at that point, and defense attorney Tini Garagos cross-examines Piazza. The defense asked Piazza when and where he got the videos, and Piazza said he received the footage from prosecutors and that he didn't know where prosecutors got the footage. Garagos then starts reviewing the surveillance video clips, and she focuses on the time codes that jump instead of advancing second by second in real time. Now, she described the time code changes with phrases like jump and missing time, suggesting it almost appeared as if the video's time was cut. Piazza explained the motion triggers a timestamp change in the camera system. Although a person might be visible in the frame, the motion-activated cameras do not update the timestamp until they detect distinct movement. He also said that the cameras were not linked to the same internal clock, but he was able to sync the footage based on overlapping events. And really, that was all the defense had for him, and he was released from the stand. Now, I do want to say the reason that this is becoming such an issue is because it was the defense's claim through Diddy that allegedly the video had been altered somehow and cut. Certain parts of it cut out. I think with this witness, the prosecution did a good job of proving that's not the case. The next person called by the prosecution was Bryana Bongolan. And it's important to mention that much like yesterday with Garcia, Bryana Bongolan cut a deal with the judge in exchange for her not pleading the fifth on anything that she disclosed on the stand that she could be criminally charged for. And once again, Smizer is handling the direct examination. And Smizer asked Bryana Bongolan about an altercation with Sean Diddy Combs in September of 2016. Bongolan responded, quote, "I was held over a 17-story balcony." She said Combs then, quote, "threw her onto the balcony furniture, and she sustained injuries from that altercation," she said. quote, I had a bruise on the back of my leg and my back and neck pain. Bongolan also said, I have night terrors and paranoia and scream in my sleep at times. And she described Cassie Ventura as one of her close friends and said they are still friends today. And then the questioning went into Cassie Ventura, and the prosecutor asked her about her relationship with Cassie, and she said that Cassie was one of her close friends. They're still friends today. She went into the fact that they worked together at a streetwear company called Diamond Supply Company around 2014 or 2015, and that's when they became friends. She said Ventura was in a relationship with Diddy when she first met her, but she didn't meet Combs until about a year later. Quote, I wasn't really fond of what I was seeing, so I wasn't really wanting to meet him. She said she had seen Ventura with a black eye before and had seen her upset while on the phone with Combs. Bongolan said she finally agreed to meet Combs after Ventura begged her to. She told about a 2016 shopping trip that she went on with Cassie Ventura when Cassie was dating Diddy. And she said that Combs sent Ventura a list of all the places the two women had been on that day, even though neither one of these women told Diddy where they were, and she said they went back to Ventura's apartment shortly after receiving that list. They were just freaked out from him following them around somehow, right? She recalled seeing Cassie with a black eye before a movie premiere. She actually testified that Ventura called her on FaceTime while she was getting ready for a movie premiere for a movie called The Perfect Match. She said Ventura panned the camera across her face, showing the black eye on this FaceTime video. Now, the movie premiere was just after the 2016 hotel assault, which was captured on video surveillance, as you know. And during Ventura's testimony earlier in the trial, if you'll remember, prosecutors showed the jury a photo of Ventura dressed in a gown. She was wearing large black sunglasses, and when they asked her about it, she said it was to hide her black eye. So this is corroborating that. Bongolan then testified that both she and Ventura were quiet on that FaceTime call. She said, I remember saying I'm sorry, and also said she saw bruises on Ventura other times outside of that FaceTime call. She recounted arguments between Combs and Ventura at that infamous now 29th birthday party. She said Diddy and Ventura seemed to be getting along earlier in the night, but then they started fighting. And she added that Ventura, Combs, and his security guards were off on their own, and Ventura seemed very upset. After leaving that Blind Dragon restaurant, Bongolan said she went back to Ventura's apartment with her and Deontay Nash, celebrity stylist that I covered just a few episodes ago. And she said Ventura packed a bag before she left, and she said she didn't know where Ventura went. Bongolan testified that she frequently stayed at Cassie's apartment. She said Diddy would regularly come over in the middle of the night and he would be banging on the door. And she said sometimes Ventura seemed surprised by his late night visits, while other times it just seemed like it was normal. Now, one incident that stood out, though she couldn't recall when it happened, when Bongolan said she was asleep at Ventura's apartment and was awakened by banging on the door. Ventura, who was in her bedroom, came out into the main room in response, and Bongolan recalled that Combs was then inside the apartment. Quote, I just remember seeing a knife get thrown in her direction, unquote. Combs was standing by the entry door when he threw the knife at Ventura, who was standing pretty close to him, she testified. And she said that Ventura threw the knife back at Combs but did not hit him, and after that, Combs left. Bongolan said she did not remember if she and Ventura used drugs that night, and she did not call the police about the incident, saying, quote, I was just scared of Pup. Bongolan said Diddy gave her drugs a few times. She said she had seen Combs use marijuana, ketamine, and cocaine, and testified that she and her friend Cassie would do drugs together almost weekly. She said she and Ventura would try at times to get sober, quote, because we wanted to do better. The two friends would try to cook together instead of using drugs, but those periods would never last. Bongolan testified about a time Diddy threatened her while she and Cassie Ventura were doing a photo shoot on a beach in early 2016. Quote, he came up really close to my face and said something around the lines of, quote, I'm the devil and I could kill you. How about that? She didn't know what prompted Combs to say that to her, and she said Combs never said anything like that to her before. She said she couldn't tell if Combs was high, that she was probably doing cocaine that day. Quote, I was terrified, but because of the cocaine, I had little confidence and just brushed it off. Assistant U.S. Attorney Madison Smizer asked why Bongolan continued to see Combs after that incident, to which she responded, honestly, I don't know. Smizer then directed Bryana Bongolan back to the incident on the balcony of Cassie Ventura's L.A. apartment. Bongolan testified she was asleep with her ex-girlfriend on a couch in Ventura's apartment when she heard Sean Combs banging on the door in September of 2016. She said Ventura was in her bedroom at the time. Bongolan took her ex-girlfriend to hide in the guest bathroom and then went on the balcony herself to appear, quote, casual. Bongolan said she hid the other woman at the time. She said, quote, I didn't want to expose her to things I see. She also had a marijuana cigarette on the balcony facing away from the door when Combs came out to the balcony. Quote, I either lit a blunt or I was about to light it. He basically came up behind me. He lifted me up and then he had me on top of the rail. She said Combs then grabbed her chest and then held her by the armpits over the railing with her feet dangling above the railing. Combs repeatedly yelled at her, do you know what the fuck you did? And she said she still doesn't know what Combs was talking about at the time. She recalled responding something like, I don't know what the fuck I did. She said after about 15 seconds dangling over that balcony railing, Combs threw her onto the balcony furniture. She said she had a lot of adrenaline and didn't realize she was hurt right away. She said as she was falling, she heard Ventura's voice who asked something like, quote, did you just hang her over the balcony? And it sounded like Ventura was in disbelief. She said Cassie and Combs then started talking and she heard something about her girlfriend being in the house, and then Combs left shortly after. After Combs left, Bongolan went back to her apartment. A day or two after the incident on the balcony, she said Diddy and one of his security guards FaceTimed her. She said she remembered saying a couple of times, I don't want any problems with you. And that Combs didn't say much, but he kept putting his hands over his head and breathing and alternating, looking away from the camera and then looking back into it. She said she didn't report the incident on the balcony because she was scared. She said she and Combs saw each other after the incident and they tried to be cool. She went on to say the last time she hung out with Diddy and Cassie was around New Year's in 2018. She testified she went to the penthouse suite at one hotel in Miami with Combs and Ventura for New Year's, where they did ketamine for 8 hours. After that, she left and decided she could no longer use drugs. She tattooed the date on her neck as a, quote, commitment to get sober and not go back. She said she wasn't able to get sober right away, but she's sober now. After leaving the hotel in Miami that day, she said her relationship with Ventura became sporadic. She also said that she spoke with Cassie after Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy. And then they got into Cassie's lawsuit, and she was asked about that, and she said she did speak to Cassie after Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy that started this whole deal, right, in 2023. There were a few details wrong about the balcony incident described in Ventura's lawsuit, such as it not happening in a hotel and Ventura having the date wrong. She said she experiences nightmares, a lot of paranoia, and used to scream a lot in her sleep. but that it's dissipated a little bit. She also said she didn't experience those things before the incident. She said she hired a lawyer named Tyrone Blackburn in January of 2024, and Blackburn made a monetary demand to Combs regarding that balcony incident. She said she fired Blackburn when she realized he had included incorrect information in the monetary demand paperwork. She said in early 2024, a music producer named Rob Holiday reached out to her, who she's been friends with for quite a while. She said Holiday called her on FaceTime, and he appeared to be in Combs' backyard in Beverly Hills and told her he was calling on behalf of Combs, and he was authorized to talk about settling with her. She said that about a month or two after she spoke with Holiday, her current attorney helped her file a lawsuit against Combs. She also said she is no longer friends with Holiday. She said she's seeking $10 million in her lawsuit against Diddy, but she said she's not expecting any money to come from her testimony at the trial, going on to say that she filed the lawsuit against Combs because she wanted to seek justice for what happened to her. And with that, the prosecution was done, and defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland started her cross. And the defense had to confirm that Bongolan, most of her time with Ventura, was spent getting high, and she did confirm that to them. The defense also asked her how she felt when she used drugs like marijuana, cocaine, ketamine, and acid, going on to say, quote, "You would agree with me that you and Cassie had serious drug problems," to which she responded, "Yeah, we had a problem." On one occasion, she said she got Ventura so many pills it scared her. She also acknowledged that she and Ventura were doing drugs together before Bongolan met Sean Combs. Then she told of an incident sometime around 2016 at a dinner at his house. She said she went to the dinner as Cassie's friend, and she confirmed that Combs was very standoffish with her that day. She said that she's still friends with Ventura and Deontay Nash, and she said she's spoken with both of them since the trial began, but she confirmed they have not discussed any testimony. Westmoreland then questioned Bongolan's allegations that she saw Sean Diddy Combs throw a knife at Cassie Ventura, suggesting she didn't actually remember that incident. And Bongolan told prosecutors in a pre-interview that Ventura and Combs would get in knife fights sometimes, according to some interview notes that Westmoreland referenced. And Bongolan said she didn't remember saying that and stands by the memory she testified to in today's testimony. She said she doesn't know how or where Combs got a knife to throw at Ventura. Now, remember, during direct examination, she had said on one occasion when she was staying at Ventura's apartment, they got awoken by Combs and that she didn't want to call the police because she was scared of Puff. There you have it. So this testimony by Bryana, which I hope you've been paying attention because it directly speaks to the RICO charges. And how it does that is Bryana was not in a relationship with Sean Combs. And if you recall, the defense, they've really tried to frame their narrative of what was happening with Cassie, between Cassie and Sean Combs, as a toxic domestic violence incident. But here you have someone testifying that had no involvement with Sean Combs romantically, and that person was getting violently abused, especially as it related to Combs holding her over that balcony. And that testimony goes directly to racketeering and conspiracy charges that the prosecutors are trying to prove. It demonstrates that Combs was operating in a way through threats, violence, and abuse. And that goes to the corrupt enterprise aspect of RICO. So back to it, and Westmoreland, she starts suggesting that during Bongolan's first meeting with prosecutors, she didn't mention that Sean Combs told her, quote, "I could kill you." And Bongolan responded that she don't remember what she told the government about the incident, but she didn't deny that it was different. Westmoreland also suggested that Bongolan told prosecutors the incident happened at a party, not a photo shoot. And that's what she testified to today. And in addition to that, the defense attorney said the first demand letter from Bongolan's attorney alleged that Combs said he could kill her while she was hanging over a balcony, where Bongolan testified that those were not her words and that the two incidents did not happen at the same time. And she also reminded the defense that she fired her attorney after that, which was a great point because she mentioned that to prosecutors as well and said the reasoning was he had the facts off. So that was it for today's testimony. Court was adjourned and they'll pick up tomorrow with the cross-examination continuing with Bongolan. And of course, I'll be back with an update. Thank you so much for listening. Look, in the show notes, you're going to see some links to Crime Wire Weekly. Follow the show. Award-winning host Kelly Jennings of Unspeakable and I talk about the crime headlines throughout the week going on, not only in the nation, but we even cover a story or two globally. So check that out. If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, you can also check that out. We offer everything from commercial-free early releases to bonus episodes, all kinds of stuff, even quarterly gifts. Check us out, patreon.com/exposedpodcast files. And until next time, for Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.